Hello everyone, Jacek here. So today I would like to talk about artifacts. Actually, after I played a year ago, a lot of things changed. I wanted to recap for myself, like what to spend on, what to invest on, and what actually make any usage. I already got my own experience with them, and I know which mistakes not to repeat. So I just wanted to use summarize that and have something I can come back at any point to see how things looks like. So let me close it. And there's another thing. I saw actually a few guides which were not talking obviously about all the new release artifacts, or they were talking about, for example, Hawkeye in the old version of it, which was actually changed with not the best advice. So yeah, that's things I will be speaking about today. So okay, let me start. So before, when I actually started, I was actually wondering why it's not appearing. I didn't remember from when it started, but then I realized, yeah, it's just from 26 levels. So if you just started and you are not seeing artifact, that's because of you need to get up to level 26 to be able to see them. At use, of course. So let's go. And let's go training. Okay, and there's one more thing. If you're starting, you will see them in here. After you get access to emblems and battle scar, it'll change to training icon. That wasn't actually when I was playing, it was different, and now it looks like that, so just don't be surprised you don't see this training initially. Okay, so artifacts. We have green, blue, purple, and orange premium plus now yellow. I will discuss step by step about them, and we'll start from the green ones. For green ones, we have Elixir of Life and Lucky Horseshoe. And yeah, so how much to put in them, and when to stop, and why it's important actually to max sub parts of them. Uh, so firstly, they're the cheapest ones, and you need to remember that once you actually get to 20 and you get max of the subparts, you can start using dismantling them, and you will get actually material which then you can use. Not in here. If we go to shop, yeah, you will get this. Uh, Orange something. I don't remember how's the name, but yeah, I think it's Artifact Essence, and basically you'll be able to faster farm it and just buy whatever is necessary for you. And it's worth actually to understand what you can see here, because that's something you can work for free with the time. So we have, of course, Dragon Father here. We have Angelic Galleons with Armageddon Blade, and we have Apple of Eden, and we have another one which is Sword of Frost. So those ones which we'll be discussing, they are achievable or acquirable by free. So whenever you have Astrologer, I think it's good advice if you focus on all those artifacts only and spend your free currency only on those which are not available for free in shop, like Cornucopia now and this orb. They're pretty good choice, and that's actually advisable to wait for them and roll for them. So coming back to artifacts, let's start from the first one, Elixir of Life. And I personally think it's pretty good to go as much as to level 17 with it. And if we check actually what it's giving us, it's basically giving us more and more HP. Those numbers are maybe like not super big in here, those small chunks, but in overall, when you compare with and without, it's actually a pretty good bonus. And why 70? So 70 is giving you this 4% of additional HP for a unit, and the same for 20, but this 4% is like, remember, all those percentages are from base statistics. It's not like calculated from all the other percentage advantages you get. It's just from the baseline, and that basically means it's not like super big, and yeah, it's basically not worth it. It's better to actually spend your resources somewhere else. So that's my plan actually, to stop at 17, but for now I'm keeping in 14, of course growing subparts as much as I can, but yeah, that's to come. Another one, a lucky horse show, is comparable, but if we compare, it's basically focusing on attack, but not only. And if you think actually about 17 and 20, 20 is giving us crit hit for all units, and this is actually a pretty good one, much better than the HP increase for 4%. So I think my aim is 17, then focus on any other importance when I have them enabled. But if I'll have some spare resources and will not enable others, definitely I'll go for this one. So that's something I will stop probably at 17, but then I'll go 20 whenever I'll get occasion to. Okay, so that's actually everything about green, and yeah, remember for those greens, once you hit 20 in the subparts, start dismantling them and start actually accumulating this essence faster, so you can actually buy those orange premium ones. Okay, and now let's move to blue ones. And the first blue, Wizard's Well, it's basically the most important one from all to 20. And why? It's because of mana regeneration. It will give you a lot of advantage if you keep it higher than your competition, and is giving you mana regeneration, but on the same time it's reducing mana regeneration of enemy hero. That's huge, and if the difference between levels of this for your hero and other heroes is big, you will be actually casting spells much more often than your enemy. Obviously there are other things which influence that, but this one is huge, and yeah, don't sleep over it. Make sure you max it as soon as you can. I still would not buy any parts of it. I will just go with it as you drop it, mostly from campaign. So if we go in here, I don't recommend buying it here. I don't even recommend buying these gold ones. Just focus on the premium artifacts once you unlock them, because obviously this will not be available. But when you will not see that available yet for you, just save essence, just save it, and once it appears, just start buying, because that's the most efficient way. Later on, actually I will be speaking about this artifact, but I plan to stop at some point this, and even if I'll have more available essence, I will not buy them anymore. I will save for others once they appear. I'll start switching. Okay, let's move back. And yeah, that's Wizard Well. We described that. I will not go deeply into all the levels, because all are surely important, and yeah, just go for 20 whenever you can. Okay, the next one, Ring of a Mage plus Anti-Magic Runestone. Both are spell damage related, so one is actually increasing your spell damage, and another one is reducing unit spell damage your unit takes, basically increasing magic resistance. And the percentage are not big, and to be honest, personally stopping at level 8, so that's actually what I'll keep them for. It might be like even 5 might work for you already, but as I'm using Almar, I wanted to get actually this a little bit higher. The price of 8 wasn't that big yet. And yeah, I use this to 8 because others are using on my server Almar too, so at least now it hits a lot. But then I'm stopping. I'm done with those two. Obviously, some parts go as high as you can because that's how it works. You get those bonuses, and yeah, they only cause you the this crystals currency and nothing else besides of the parts of the subparts. Okay, the next one, and many people are not aware, but you should not spend over skill active artifacts too much. I always speak about them shortly, but that's the first one. And why is that? So if you go to skill settings, and if you think about, of course, playing game for a longer time, you can actually see you have only 5 places for enabling these active skills. And in here, this is Angelheim's, it's from Angelic Alliance. If we switch, we see that this curse is actually coming from this artifact. And what does it mean? That basically means I can't use both. So I can use one or the other. And there is no doubt Angelic Alliance is much better from this one. So if you know, you will go quickly for Angelic Alliance like I was doing, because basically I got an Angelic Alliance and I wanted it at least level 1 as fast as possible. I didn't spend much on that. Actually, I didn't spend anything. If you believe it will take you more time, I think it's fair to go to level 2, but I wouldn't go much bigger than that, because you'll basically waste at some point. You remember, it's free. At some point you just need to take enough essence, and if you have the green artifacts level 20, the subparts, you'll start generating more of the essence. You'll be able at some point to buy Angelic Alliance, and then you will replace that, so whatever you'll put in here will be just gone. You'll not use it. And yeah, some people artificially increase the power, and this power is like useless, because it basically means your account is like bigger and has more power, but in reality you don't even use the artifacts with active skills which are replaced by something else, so just mind that. Obviously some parts, as in all, just go as much as you can. Okay, so that's this one. And the next one I'll describe in a moment. I'll for a moment switch to another one, which is Titan Thunder. That's actually the first from the oranges, but why I wanted to mention is because it's another one which is part of active skills. So it's here. You can replace that with Frozen Ward from Sword of... what was the name of it? Let me check. Sword of Frost, yeah. So you can replace it with Sword of Frost or with Armageddon's Blade. Both of them are obviously better, but there is a big but. All three, as we'll be discussing later on, have this level 2, the mana cost of casting them is 0. Before level 2, they are awful, and they are awful because they burn your mana. They usually are cast earlier than your ultimate, and that might basically starve your mana, and you might not have enough mana for casting your ultimate spell. So even for Titan Thunder, it's important to keep it level 2 at least. But then I would say don't go further. 2 is enough, and you will at some point replace that with one of those 2 I mentioned. So don't spend too much resources, and the damage from it, maybe at some big levels, is like more significant, but I don't think so. It's worth spending. You can actually do spend much more efficiently into other places. Okay, let's get back to where we finish Axe of Ferocity. Okay, so this one is good, but it's only good till some level, and we'll discuss why shortly. So if we see in here, I'm currently level 4. Soon, yeah, obviously, once I got those two 6 parts, I'll be able to go with 5. But I'm planning to go till level 8 and nowhere further. Why? Because yeah, firstly, it's not like with greens that maybe the bonus is slightly bigger, but if you closer look, it's just for particular type of units, and it's mostly focusing defensive and melee units, and I think offensive in some cases. So this is not like something which will buff all your units, and I would definitely not spend my resources for that. It's not worth it. And even more if you look at the hard level, the level 70 of magic resistance, it's like it's useless at some point. At the moment where you will be down high or could have it that high, it's not as useful to be honest. And again, it's focusing only melee units here, so no, so I really recommend going not further than level 8. Level 8, it's still not that expensive and it's increasing damage, so it's not attack, it's increasing damage of offensive units. For my case, it's just it's actually for Naga pretty good buff, so I really want it. But yeah, don't go further. You might stop at level 5 if you're using charge units. But yeah, I think Mane got some offensive units which actually would benefit from this damage addition. And yeah, as I said, it's yet not that expensive. Plus it's passive, you don't need to enable it. Okay, so that's the Axe of Ferocity. Then we have Bow of the Sharpshooter. This one, I would say it's somehow similar, but if we get closely, so what I'm looking for is definitely level 5, because that will increase attack. In this case, it's attack, it's not damage, of range and caster, but it's like 2 types. Units increase by an additional 5%, and as for me, basically that's the top damage dealers for my main tower. Actually, for many others, it's top damage dealers, and it's not expensive. It's fairly cheap, but then attack of caster units by 8%, range units by 8% at the higher and higher cost. To be honest, it doesn't speak to me, and yeah, I would not go further than level 5. Yeah, I would rather spend my resources somewhere else, and that's what I plan. So let's go to the next one, and this one is yet another interesting one which you need to be aware of. So I'm not using that, and you see I had it enabled, but it's just enabled that. Let me actually get rid of it. Unequip. So I'm not using it. Maybe if I'll switch, it'll be easier to not click it accidentally, because of simple reason. So I think we have 2 units now in the game. One I have, which is Judicator, and her skill Blessing of the Light. If you read through the description, when a friendly unit's HP is lower than 25% for the first time, the Judicator casts Light Shelter to protect companions for 5.4 seconds. If I'm using these weak summon units, they basically almost die too quickly and cause casting this, and it's a waste. It is a big waste. I rather actually would focus on my major units and postpone calling that till one of the defenders usually or other offensive units is in the need. Then for summon units which doesn't do significant damage. For the moment where I am in the game, I'm still using Dragon, and I think I'll drive it to level 2, and as it will actually be pretty useful for still quite a few weeks at the stage where we are in the server. We're just starting 4th week, if I recall. So that's actually not causing it because of this basically some say disadvantage, but actually it's advantage. 20 seconds after battle begins summons one level 1 baby dragon. So usually when I'm fighting, after this 20 seconds, the skill I mentioned is already cast. So there is no big reason actually that this dragon, will cause casting it. That's good. And in addition, actually, it's good. Good unit. Still, actually, doing meaningful damage and being able to tank. Yet at the level of server where I am. So yeah, I'm using that, and after some point, I don't know, in months, I probably will revisit that, or when I'll get into other artifacts with active skills which doesn't actually cause summoning. Okay, so that was this one. Let's go back. Yeah, so that was this one, and that's basically the reason why I'm keeping that at level 1, and I don't plan to go to level 2 even. I'm not using that at all, and yeah, it was require already the crystal from me. So yeah, I'll just focus on sub parts of it, and that's it. Okay, the next one. The next one is Codex, and Codex is yet another one which is focused, at least in this main part of the skill, on increasing heroes' damage spell. And if we go in here, it's actually having some additional buffs in terms of crit for all caster, crit for all archer, and that's actually what I was looking for. I wanted both, but starting from level 8, it's random. It's like you might bonus from it or you might not. It's like all caster units have a 10% chance of dealing extra damage equal to 10% of their attack. For me, it's not worth. And the same for archer, and then going further, increasing spell damage. This one and this one, ooh, those would be good. But all the before and the resources you need to spend over, that's for me pass. So I'm basically keeping it at level 5, and I'm already done with it. This one we already discussed, Titan's Thunder, and the next one is Mirror of Revenge. And yeah, this one is interesting. So my recommendation, or my actual plan for it, is like achieving level 8, and then depending on how much resources I will have, slowly expanding that. As it's about life drain and unit damage reduction for all units, it's pretty good. Honestly, I'm not sure about the last two. I might actually reach out to some community folks and ask how much benefits of it is. I don't fully understand how block value is performing in the game and how much impact out of it there is. The same about Death Pierce, and I think when I was playing a year ago, there was questions about how this works, and even now I saw questions. So I'm not sure if it's clear how this part works. And besides of that, yeah, of course, we get some magical mirror filled with the it increases unit damage of it increases unit damage in addition. So going every additional level will increase unit damage, and that's pretty good one. So definitely as much as you can go, with maybe stopping a level 14. I don't know about those two, 17 and 20. Need to learn more. But currently I plan to go around level 8 and slowly go maybe up to level 14, and then let's see. Okay, the next one, this is quite new one. It wasn't here when I was playing. I get the impression it's only paid one, but I'm not super sure if you can get it into other ways than this weekly offers. There's a cheap version of that and a little bit more expensive one, so I'm just going with the cheapest one and going slowly with it. And it's about life drain of the units, which for some units doing huge damage, like I don't know, Naga, Dragon Lantern, that's pretty good. And in addition, it has this damage reflection coming up and up with the next levels, which is always increasing piece of damage, especially if you got big damage dealers on the other side. that might get some good impact, but yeah, I never saw actually tests done with it and seeing exactly how this behaves, so I'm not sure yet. But for me, it's like going as much as I can with that. But as I said, since for me it's paid one, so you can only go slowly with it if you don't want to be inefficient with it. So yeah, let's see how we go. But yeah, I plan to go as much as I can with it. Uh, okay, next one. Yeah, and this is Traveling Bard, and that gives us this effect, Carrefour Melody, so it increases damage dealt by friendly units. So every level is actually increasing damage for all the units, which is good. So it's already giving us a good way to invest into that. It's quite new, and I'm wondering. I do not recall if it can be acquired in a free-to-play way. Maybe, I don't know, to be honest. But as I was actually checking the skills, it's pretty good. So I plan to go obviously as much as I can. But yeah, it might be slow. We'll see. But yeah, there is nothing against going high with this one. Then yeah, Live Hawkeye. Just mind if you see any reviews. This artifact was like hated in the past, and it was very different from what it is now. And it was, if I recall, it was more about spell damage, something around that. But maybe I was wrong. But something useless. Now it's focused about decreasing damage taken by friendly units from all over places, if I recall, which is pretty good because it's another way to help it with damage. And the next level decreases that even further. So this one is good. It might not be like super meaningful. I didn't see like any reviews saying like this is big impact, but there is nothing against to go high with that. Maybe I'll stop around, I don't know, 2-5 and then see how actually it impacts, because remember this one is active skill, so you can test it, you can actually check how does it behave, you can actually do a fight with and without it and compare. I'm not sure if with low levels they'll be that significant, but the higher, around the 5 level, I plan to do some tests and check how big impact is with and without, and yeah, compare to actually decide if it's worth go further. The next one, this one I'm going slowly. Obviously, I want to enable all and keep growing the small subparts. But in terms of the main artifact, it's again summoning, and this is active skill. You need to assign with summoning, and I don't want it. They are fairly weak, slightly stronger at higher levels, but not worth investment in my mind. So definitely I'll just go level 1 and skip over anything else. Okay, this one, Admiral's Hat. Let's open it. A mysterious power originating from the ocean grants you protection, increasing all units critical hit damage reduction by 0.5%. And the farther you go, the bigger it is. In my opinion, this one is pretty good, and again, I'm not sure how easily you can get it for free. Might be like through Astrologer, because I think that's how I get the part of it. But in terms of acquiring other ways, yeah, not sure. The same is actually about this one, and this one is fairly paid one, as I was actually observing. But yeah, I think I would just go to level at least 5 and then observe how it behaves. The one thing which you need to notice is like this critical hit damage in subpart is not for all units, but it's for melee, defensive, then ranged, then it's increasing dodge. So yeah, I'm not sure that would be super useful. It's pretty hard to say much, at least from my side, about bigger levels of them because I never get there. Maybe I'll at some point get the chance to test it, maybe on Tessera, we'll see. But yeah, to there is nothing against going high with this one, same as with Dark Priest. So don't, I will not go much in details, but this one is a good one, and yeah, I would go with as high as you can. Dragon Father. This one is good in early server, and yeah, I'm personally not sure how long. So I was playing for quite a time the previous time, and even with Judicator, many people use it, even level 2, for quite a time still. So yeah, I definitely plan to grow it to level 2, especially remember that level 2 of this subparts is giving you good bonuses, nice bonuses. Obviously the first one is giving the biggest defense bonus, but the second one is fairly cheap. It's just one part, and it's enabling you cheap activation of second level of the main artifact, so that's my goal. And the very same for me is like for Sword of Frost and Armageddon's Blade. But here you need to decide which one is working better for you. Usually, if your units, if you play Inferno on some dungeon parts, and fire spell damage is actually doing. So basically, you need to read and learn about your team setups and what's actually bringing more of yeah, how to say that, you look basically for advantages you can get. Like in here you get slowness, if I remember properly. Let me actually spell damage. Yeah, it's inflicting slow and silence. So if you play, as an example, I know Rampart, Castle, and some other units which benefits a lot from slowness, that's your pick. If you benefit from burning units, so if burning units actually benefit a lot your I know Fiona with your Inferno or some others, that's what you go for. But if you have like less obvious cases, I would just read through the description and decide what's more. I wouldn't maybe go for both, at least not in the early stages or mid stages. I would decide on one. For me, tower, I definitely will go for this one. And there's one important thing. It's not like with this one I'm using it level 1, then level 2. This is the same case as with Titan's Thunder. So you don't want to use them level 1 as active skill, because you will be burning your mana. At least till you have like much more mana regeneration than your enemy, and you clearly observe that you never starve for mana, but you need to be very careful. It's like very risky strategy, so definitely that's a recommendation from many. If you go for one of those two, make sure you get it to level 2 and then start using it. And I wouldn't go above level 2. That's what you need, and yeah. The next one, at least for me, is one of the most important ones, and I believe you should focus once you level 2 the most critical ones, or you actually can get this to level 2 to this to level 2, or if you enable this one, bring it to level 2 as far as possible, or even to level 1 before. Because level 1 is switch from slowing your enemy to speeding up your units. Basically, it's increasing all friendly units attack by 60% and attack speed by 10%. This is the first stage of the battle, but that's big. There was a lot of tests done in past for that, and there was a big difference between this and slowness and all the debuffs caused by, where is it? This one. So I definitely recommend focusing on this one, and my plan is like to go as much or as far as I can with this one. Like it's pretty good, and level 2 is giving you a small angel-like activity. The first death friendly unit has 75% chance to revive. Then there's like bonuses in terms of like the revive is with full HP. The duration is increased, and I think at some point it was like 100%, maybe. I don't remember. No, maybe not. But yeah, all the buffs from it are pretty good. So sky's the limit here. I would say this one, let's skip for now, but Apple of Eden is one of those you want for active skills and to replace all those summons. It's increasing unit damage reduction of all friendly units and purifying to random units. At level 2, its purified units gain additional 50% unit damage reduction and death. And that's what I plan to go. I plan to go for first 2 levels, and that will be enough. Why is because to go higher you would need to spend over the small subparts, and I rather prefer to focus on this. Once I got it to level 2, I can fully focus on this. So yeah, that's the main reason. This one is fairly new, and it has pretty good buffs. I don't have them here, but let me actually open it on my another screen so I can at least read it through. So yeah, at level 2, at level 1 we already see actually a description here. Spell damage taken by friendly units is reduced by 12 when enemy hero casts a spell. Spell pierce will be triggered. And there is no more description, but I can read you more that there is when enemy hero casts a fire spell, all enemy units lose 20% of unit damage for 5 seconds. This is pretty good because that's against I know who would be the Fiona, I think, mostly because it's heavily fire spell based. In terms of water, all enemy units lose 50% of attack speed. Earth spell will give enemy units lose 10% of unit defense. Air spell, all enemy units would lose 20% of unit damage reduction. So the last one is pretty important against towers, Daramed. That will be pretty good, but I think level 2 is more significant. That's something, if you really want to focus on this artifact and spend money over that, because I think that's the way to acquire it now. The level 2 is something which would interest you, because when an enemy hero casts a spell, doesn't matter which one, its mana will be decreased by 0.5% for each unit you have on the battlefield. That sounds huge. That's pretty good, and I believe if you, especially at this stage, get to level 2, that would actually mean a lot in terms of who can cast skills. And remember, artifacts are not like units; they're giving benefits for all your teams, whatever mode you play. Okay, so I think we're done with this one. We covered Shelter Eden, and there are 2 yellow ones. Quickly talking about Cornucopia, so yeah, I think it's only paid or events based, and I believe you should go and take it slowly if you can, especially get it through the events or Astral Ledger like we have now. And you really want to have it at least at level 2, because the amount of Star Soul stones which you need for second awakenings will be actually good enough to actually explain the effort. But as many say, at the 5th level is what actually giving you enough of Star Soul stones. You don't need to buy them anymore. You can just actually have Cornucopia and benefit from it, which gives you those resources every Monday. Envoy span, not yet fully aware much about that. I think if I'll learn about this one, I'll give you more details about it. And as I saw, you can actually I think it's in Holy City, so you can in Holy City Siege in auction bet for it, and I think price starts from 7,777 diamonds, and yeah, if it's worth. Yeah, I didn't analyze. I didn't get for betting. I'm more focused on the UR units now. But let's shortly at least get to the description and see how beneficial it is. what is actually giving it level 1, because imagine you want to go for it, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, it's roughly 20, it's a little bit more than 30k of your diamonds, which you really need or want to have for covenants like this one. So I basically max this one, and for me that's the best way to spend diamonds here. So yeah, not sure if it's worth, but let's shortly check for it. And where is it? Where is it? It's the last one of the last ones. Your illustration wartime achievements be blah blah blah. Combat efficiency volume is increased by 1%. So yeah, I think if I remember correctly, let me go to another screen and just see the description of level 2. Okay, so level 2 is a bit better because it's giving your hero 15 initial mana, and whenever the enemy hero casts an ultimate spade, for the first time during a Holy City siege battle, there is a 10% chance it will fizzle, whatever it means. So, to be honest, I'm not sure. I definitely do not plan to spend diamonds there. Maybe there will be like more reviews or more feedback about this one, how it's actually doing. Okay, so that was quite a lengthy one. That's all my current knowledge about artifacts, and that's what I plan to do with them. So I think to not make it longer, thank you, have a good day, and see you next time. Cheers guys, bye.